Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey is in deep, deep danger, and it's all because the Hollyweirds continue to place it straight in the middle of the culture war. Now they're attacking Homer, the 3,000-year-old author, for daring misunderstand women and not give them enough time in his epic. Today, we'll tell you why this is a disaster for the cinema, costing them perhaps up to hundreds of millions of dollars. And all the while, Spider-Man just might be coming in to wipe out the Odyssey. It's a great day. It's a groovy day. Ladies and gentlemen, an attitude of gratitude every time you come our way. And today is no exception. Welcome back, friends and fam. And yet again, we're dragging Hollywood back to the mainstream middle, the sensible center, where money is made. Click that like button and we'll get underway. In the history of bad decisions of the world, this is one of them. We've got the criticism, of course, from Mr. Christian Toto, who's on the panel with us. Making this movie a culture war battle is very dumb. I would add two more varies to that. I would say it's very, very, very dumb. Variety posting this: the women of the Odyssey, including Zendaya, Anne Hathaway, Lupita Nyong'o, and Charlize Theron, pose at the Paris photo call. It's all about these ladies when it comes to the Odyssey. It's all about the errors of Homer, who clearly was just not on the right side of history 3,000, 4,000 years ago. Marvin Montanaro writing this one for Geeks and Gamers. Women of the Odyssey continue comments about Homer's epic from not enough women to vilification of women. I mean, I don't think they understand the antiquities at this point. I don't think they understand human history, but rewriting it they are determined to do. Says the press tour for Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey continues to generate controversy as several of the film's female stars have made comments about Homer's legendary work that have left some fans questioning how familiar they are with the 3,000-year-old epic poem. Nolan's upcoming adaptation has already become one of the most debated films of the year. You can see here, Lupita Nyong'o says, and she's Helen of Troy, Homer spent little time with female perspectives. Okay, we played this before. We'll play it one more time.
I'd be like, so Homer, how do you feel about the screen time given to these women, considering how little you spent with them?
Take that, Homer. You weren't getting no action back 3,000 years ago, were you? What in the world are we doing? Of course, Hollywood continues, the access media, to try to defend this stuff. BuzzFeed is jumping in. Elon Musk got ratioed for insulting historian Tom Holland over the Odyssey. Chelsea Stewart writing this. And it's this whole thing about how Elon Musk criticizes the Odyssey, but he got ratioed over this because the historian who's in charge of the thing, blah, blah, blah. Folks, they're trying to make you unsuccessfully, trying to get you to forget. Every time they put out a trailer, it's getting ratioed. And Christian, we have never seen in the history of the movies, and we've covered this thing, whenever these movies are hit with dislike ratios over and over and over again, there's not been a single one that ever succeeded. It's always the same story. It never goes well. So your thoughts as they've put this in the culture war, can they pull this thing off? Can they be the first film? Can this be the first time that it's got an avalanche of awful aimed right at it and they still somehow win at the box office?
Yeah, I think this will be the exception. But, he comes with an asterisk. Could it have been bigger? Could it have been more inclusive as far as the audience is concerned? We may never know. None of this is good. None of this is smart. None of this is proper marketing. This is all ego. This is all virtue signaling. And also what you see is this weird marriage between the media, which is left of center and gobbles this nonsense up, and the actors who are more than happy to spew this nonsense. It's just staggering. And this should be a movie where it stands on its own. It's Christopher Nolan. He's a great filmmaker. I've got some minor quibbles with him, but he's a very talented guy. And he's the one director right now, you just put his name on a product and people will flock to it. It becomes an event. That's a very special and rare thing, which we just saw. Steven Spielberg no longer has that capacity. So I don't want to root against the film. I'm hoping it's good. The first reactions literally tell us nothing, because anything that he does will get showered with that early praise. You're not allowed to say anything bad about a Christopher Nolan film. We keep seeing it happen. And we just saw it weeks ago with Millie Alcock. How these actors don't get it in their heads that they're hurting, not helping their films, I just don't understand it. All I can say, it's just the bubble. The bubble is bulletproof, and no one within their community is willing to call them out, gently correct them, say, hey, maybe this isn't the best path forward. But who looks at a poem from antiquity and says, well, that doesn't have the moral standings that we have today? I mean, is Lupita Nyong'o that dumb? It's my only question. Is she that dumb?
She went to Yale. It's actually a great point here, because it would have actually been inappropriate, I believe, in Greek culture for him to be hanging out with women to get their perspectives on the Odyssey. Also, the Odyssey being primarily the story of soldiers. So definitely not a lot of female soldiers.
Whoa. You're telling me they didn't let women in the military back then? God, darn the patriarchy.
I know. And no gays or lesbians either, I bet.
I don't know. Sometimes they were not.
I don't know. Those Greeks and Romans, some of the things I hear about the Spartans, I'm like, oh.
Those temples, I tell you.
Yes, don't tell.
Okay, so Christian, my thesis on this is that it's going to have a huge opening. But where I may differ slightly from you, and I don't know, let's take this journey together.
Yeah.
Where I wonder what happens is it's got 2 weeks until Spider-Man Brand New Day. If Spider-Man Brand New Day does the kinds of numbers that they're now suggesting, that it may easily clear $1 billion and reset expectations on superhero films and maybe shine a light on what's really going on in that regard. But if it comes in and wipes out everything because of that level of excitement, a 2-week runway might be what we see for the Odyssey. And that's where I go, okay, this may not have the legs that you would typically see for a Christopher Nolan film. What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's a good point. And I think we can compare it in a way to that. Was it Barbenheimer? What was the combo movie from a couple of years ago when Oppenheimer and Barbie just basically worked together because they had.
That's what they're hoping for.
Yeah, they had very different audiences, though. One was really female-centric, bubbly comedy. One was this stoic historical piece. But this is a little bit more overlap. I don't think you have very distinct audiences here. I think it's not as different. So I think what you're saying could be true, and that 2-week window could be its main runway. We'll have to wait and see. Also, maybe it's not great, and there's no guarantee it's as great as his past films. There's no guarantee. And what makes me suspicious is when actors start talking up their projects like this. It almost always reflects inferior content. We saw that with Ghostbusters, Supergirl. I mean, again and again, Snow White. There's something about crappy movies that makes them want to defend them in this weird woke way. That could be what's happening here. We'll have to wait and see. Listen, again, those first reviews, just push them out the door. They mean less than nothing, and shame on the media for really giving them any gravitas. They deserve nothing.
Perfect, flawless, all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But we all agree on the panel. Is there anybody who disagrees that it's going to have a huge first weekend? Because I believe it's going to have a huge first weekend. Anybody disagree?
I don't know. I think that the culture at large is probably unaware of the culture war aspects. It's something that's being fought. The normies, you can never count on what the normies are actually aware of. So yeah, probably a big first weekend.
Culture, I cut you off earlier on accident. Please.
No, well, first of all, as normal, Christian used the proper word, gravitas. It's lacking gravitas, which is etymologically the proper word to use because it's born out of Greek. So it doesn't have the weight. And I'm actually one of the people that don't think it's going to open as big as other people do. I think it'll perform very well. And I think WOM, word of mouth, is going to punch this in the teeth by Sunday. And I think a lot of people who were expecting something different, because this is not the first time we've seen the journey of Odysseus or anything related to this particular work, the Iliad, or anything similar. You bringing on Sinian, I think is the name of this character, into a story that they aren't in is insanity, purely based on the stunt casting. But separate yourself from all of that and all the woke elements of this. This story is, if it doesn't stun, if it's not the epic that they've been touting it as for over a year, then I think it underperforms. I think that maybe it starts off well. We'll know coming up very shortly, a week from today, how things are looking. Because if they can't stack on top of pre-sales, traffic that is not just the walk-ups, but people who actually pre-buy tickets day of or whatever, then that's going to start to be rather telling. And the only thing I've seen coming out of the media, which Christian already referenced, is the actors and actresses promoting their work in the most flawed ways. Let me point very quickly towards Moana, which we've already talked about, and The Rock referencing things that were not the project Moana, referencing Indiana Jones, referencing other things in that stupid conversation he had with that Malkin guy who's just there to rage bait, every one of these stars with questions that are designed to, implode the movie. Fortunately, The Rock's smart enough not to take that. But most of these younger stars they don't have media training. They've never read Marshall McLuhan or anything else, so they don't understand how to be media cool. So you get a lot of Rachel Zegler moments, and everything about the promotional campaign here, especially with Lupita Nyong'o, has been exactly that. And so I'm thinking that anybody who's been invested in this in any way, this film especially, they're looking at the kind of responses like this and the kind of smugness and the nature of I'm superior to you from all of these people, that I think that's going to play into it. And then people are going to go to the movie. They're going to watch people like Gary, Critical Drinker, and others, and they're going to go, wow, I really agree with that guy. Wow, I really agree with Christian's perspective. Wow, I really agree with what Pro's saying. And at the end of the day, they're going to grow our audience, and I'm going to say thank you. But at the same time, I'm telling you, this is this could be more of a disaster than I think a lot of us are allowing for.
Yeah, it's just bad answer after bad answer. There's got to be a way to dance around if you never read the Odyssey, you didn't study it in school, which you should have. I mean, honestly, you should have. But if you didn't, there's got to be a better way than to have these kinds of headlines. But it's everywhere, and all these actors and actresses are sort of landing in the same spot. Jonas, Ron, it's not adding up to a huge, buzz around the film, and now they're having to circle the wagons with the trades, trying to, make some kind of payday happen here.
Well, I'm just wondering why there's such a huge gap in the prediction for opening weekend, like 80 to 132 million. I mean, that's 50 million, 50
right.
million, and they can't condense it down. That tells me that they really don't know where this is going. I personally have zero interest in seeing this film. And part of that is because just these type of historical dramas, even the movies that have been made in the past, it's just not my thing. Like if it involved a lot more mythical creatures or something like that, I would probably be more interested. Clash of the Titans, the original one, I really, really liked.
Tell me what you think about this, Ron. Tell me what you think about this, Ron. It feels to me like, the crowd that would go see this is the same crowd that went to see Gladiator. But you'd be crazy to promote that, with like girl power and, oh my gosh, we got to go back in time and correct the woes of the patriarchy.
That doesn't
fourth wave feminism forever. It's like
Christian said, what I think they're doing is preparing for disaster and saying that audiences won't go see this because it's woke, blah, 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 whatever. And they, you see it with Rachel Zegler, Millie Alcock, and then these statements coming out of, I mean, come on, Lupita Nyong'o, she can do better than that, right? I'm sure she knows better than that. These aren't off the cuff statements. They know what they're doing, and I think they are prepping for disaster, especially on, like you said, a Christopher Nolan movie where everybody expects great things. If it's not great, I mean, I'm sorry, but Elliot, whatever, Page, being in this.
Yeah, hey. Now this is 5 feet solid of pure warrior form. All right, Ron, you watch yourself.
It just makes zero sense whatsoever in an historical drama about Greek poetry. Like I said, I have zero interest in it. It's got a 2-week run before Spider-Man hits. By the way, I got to give props to Tom Holland and Zendaya for being in 2 major, box office movies at the same time in the same summer. Their agents are doing a phenomenal job. That's all I can say there. But it's just really, really crazy to me what's going on. The only movie that I have even seen trailers for this year that has gotten my interest up has been the Spider-Man movie, which is odd because I have to take it out of the whole MCU, if you will, because I like Tom Holland. I like the way he portrays the character. I think it's going to be a good movie on its own, but not as part of the bigger MCU story. And I honestly think that Spider-Man will outgross Doomsday in the end, which will be crazy if it does. But
no, I think you're right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I from what I've seen with the leaks and everything, that movie's going horribly, and I think the Odyssey, does well for a couple weeks and then really sinks. Because I don't think the word of mouth is going to be good on this.
So I'm going to say, Christian, that strategies that don't work this summer, attacking Christian dads, not a great idea. Culture war for masculine films, probably not a great idea. And maybe never release another Star Wars thing again. But no, they got to do that. Lessons of the summer for 2026. Christian, you get the final word on this. What is the cost, you think? Is this $100 million cost? Like what could it have done had they not taken this strategy?
Oh, that's a great question. And it's hard to say. I wanted to circle back and double down on what Culture said. The hype in this one has been off the chart and literally for a year. And I think that hurts it too. I mean, there's almost like a magical elixir. You want enough hype, but not too much hype. And I think the Nolan brand is like, this is going to blow us out of the theaters. And anything less might lead to that sort of, it was good, but, and that's where the word of mouth could suffer. So yeah, as far as the money, they are losing money on what they're doing for sure. But I think it's going to be profitable enough where they're going to shrug. What I just can't understand is that we see these failures in neon lights and the actors keep doing it day after day, week after week. Well, it's not going to stop. Guess it's good for us, but I kind of want them to understand how badly they're hurting themselves.
Listen, I'll tell you this. Our numbers were just awesome when we got to cover Project Hail Mary, and all we did was praise that film and say, oh my gosh, what a great movie.
Yeah.
So they can make good or bad movies. We're going to be here talking, and the numbers are going to be just fine. Jonas, I want to know about the numbers though, real quick. I should have asked you this earlier. Do you know the break even for the Odyssey? Do we know the break even numbers?
I do not know on this one. I'm not really I never guess the box office because I hate being wrong. So this is one where I think with a movie like this, they're probably playing it close to the vest. Nolan gets that check, that blank check, in a way that a lot of other filmmakers would not if they're not doing direct IP work. So
$250 million is the stated production budget.
Yikes! Then that would probably put it in the $700 to $800 million range if they're only doing $100 million on marketing. But it seems like they're doing a lot of marketing on this one.
A lot of marketing. All right, folks, we'll keep an eye on it. But that's where we are with the Odyssey. The culture war, as Christian Toto has so correctly, so aptly put it, is damaging yet another potential blockbuster and making a big blunder for summer 2026. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for checking out the video today. It's such a pleasure every time we get to endeavor together, explaining entertainment and keeping you ahead of the culture curve. If you would be so kind, folks, swerve on down to that like button wherever you may find it and click it, please. It helps us. And you are the gigawatts that send us far and wide across the fruited plains of YouTube. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.